Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program. This is Ramadan for Better Health. Again, we want to welcome you to the holy month of Ramadan, the fasting month. It's a great honor and privilege for us and a great blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us life, that we are able to commit to perform the Hajj, not the Hajj, but the holy month of Ramadan. So we hope, inshallah, that we can all complete the fasting month successfully and with great benefit. Today we're going to be talking about the fasting and the impact that it has on the human body itself. We're going to be looking at the human body from a scientific point of view. We're joined by an expert in clinical nutrition, as well as a gastroenterologist, Dr. Osama Fikri. Assalamu alaikum to you, Doctor.
Alaikum assalam wa barakatuh. Happy Ramadan.
Thank you very much. So thank you for being with us tonight. We're going to be talking about the function or the physiology of the human body when it goes through fasting. How would you like to explain this for us?
Yes, first we have to ask ourselves why do we fast from scientific point of view, of course, what I'm speaking about. But first, why do we sleep as a question? Why do, as a human beings, we do sleeping? Sleeping is an opportunity for us to wash out all the metabolic products that ends up all over the day, digestion, absorption, excretion, whatsoever. All these chemicals have like a breakout during our sleep, and this breakout, we have all the washing and detoxification, if I might say, by the liver and the many other organs to be washed out and excreted later on in the morning of the other day. So now when the scientific media are talking about the detox systems, they speak about the caloric restriction, how we decrease or minimize our caloric intake, and that would be like a breakout for the body to wash out and detoxify its toxins. Actually, fasting works in the same way. In the lab, we don't have humans. Humans live for long, but we do have rats. They have like a specific period of time during their life cycle, and their food is almost the same. Starting from the 40s, there were studies upon the rats in the lab regarding the fasting and the caloric restriction. One study, the very first start was in Baltimore Institute of Aging, and that declared that rats which were fasting day after day had a better life, better physiology, and better function of their organs, and they lived longer.
Just to clarify, this institute, the Baltimore Institute, is in the U.S.
Yes, okay. In the U.S. Yeah. Recently, there was a very important one at Missouri in 2008, Missouri University in the U.S. also, and it declared that during fasting, actually, we have a loss at the muscle bulk, our muscle compartment, our protein content. And this could be minimized by taking diet product, reaching calcium, and a minimal exercise. This actually could happen during fasting. We do caloric restriction, but to preserve our protein content, we may have the dairy product and the minimal exercise, which could be fulfilled during the prayers. When we do that prayers. So it's protective against our muscle content and protein content, in addition to the caloric restriction and the detoxification function.
So they're saying they're identifying two important parts to achieve, this is reducing the calories that we consume,
yes,
and also having a minimum amount of exercise.
Yes.
This combination, what is the benefit? What does it do?
It preserves the content of the our protein content, our muscular content.
Ah, I see. Okay.
If you are going through a weight management program, a weight loss program, you are concerned about the loss of your fat, not your muscle.
Yeah.
Your muscle, this is a disease, this is a disorder.
Yeah.
Even if your weight is decreasing upon the scale.
Okay, so we have a lot of science,
yes,
to back up the wisdom behind Allah's requirement of us to fast the month of Ramadan. Yes. And I think what you're saying is, for a number of decades, we've been accumulating well-documented, rigorous scientific experiments to demonstrate the benefits. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the different parts of digestion. When we eat, is it just a matter of chewing food and swallowing it, or is there something else involved?
First, as you say, we chew the food. You mix it with saliva to form like a bolus. Then it transfers by the esophagus into the stomach to form like to be mixed with gastric content. This is for breakdown, what we call digestion, to be broken into smaller segments. This smaller segment could be transferred into the small intestine. The small intestine is very long, and the surface area of the small intestine inside could reach up to 30 meters. It's like a small room, a big room actually. And this is for absorption. We have these smaller particles, amino acid from the protein, free fatty acids from the lipids, glucose from the carbohydrates to be absorbed. Of course, this is a very complicated process, and actually it needs a lengthy time. And the metabolites of those are very much all through the day, especially for the humans. I mean, for the other creatures, for the animals and the birds, it's very simple. The food is more or less the same. But for the humans, he has like many types of food. One of them is some of them are healthy, and the other are not healthy. So sorrowfully in Ramadan, we don't follow the strict healthy guidelines provided to us for Allah. For instance, we try to eat a single mealers. We turn into single mealers during Ramadan, which we are fasting all through the day. We are not eating well, and we are waiting for the time of the iftar to eat. This is typically the single mealers. The thing is, the single meal, this like the metabolism, it shuts the metabolism down. When you stay for a long period of time, this is the body is afraid to lose his fat. The fat become like precious. This is a source of energy, and your body is not understanding that this fat is in the refrigerator. The food is available. It's not that problem, but he preserves the fat. No, he will not let it go easily. So what we should do during the time of iftar, that to introduce our feeding small and frequent meals, small, slowly, but not at a bolus, not like now and after this I will sleep, I will not do anything. And specifically about the suhoor, this is, we may talk about it, this is the second meal effect.
Okay, so we're talking about the best way to do the meals. Don't eat, like you say, don't be a one-mealer.
Yes.
Eat one large meal for the to break the fast and then stop. It confuses the body.
Yes.
Let's talk about hormones. I understand that males generally have about 24 all the hormones in the body, and women have a little more, about 36 or so, 36. Is that correct?
Actually, it's not that specific, but yeah, we have the gynecology and the obstetrics. We don't have that much complications for andrology, for instance. But regarding the fasting, actually, we found that the dihydroepiandrosterones, DAHIs, those are chemicals that are approved to be increased with the well-being, health well-being. Usually, at some time at the West market, they were sold as a pills of youth. Interestingly, we found that those markers are elevating during fasting. Also, we found that the amino acid tryptophan, which is accompanied with good mood and better focusing and a happy lifestyle, actually are elevated during fasting.
So you're saying that there are certain hormones, beneficial hormones,
yes, and amino acids,
amino acids are produced in larger quantities,
yes,
during fasting.
Yes.
And of course, amino acids are very essential to digestion, not only digestion, but all the body. Is that right?
Yes, and in that condition, regarding the tryptophan, it is capable of transferring the blood-brain barrier, and that acts as a neurotransmitter for the brain for better mood and better focusing.
Very important. All right, so any more you want to say about the hormonal changes that we undergo? You said that we increase the production of certain hormones. Anything else on this subject?
Well, regarding the diabetes mellitus, which, as you know, that it's a form of insulin resistance. The diabetic patient, type 2 specifically, do have insulin, but this insulin is not working very well. There are many factors, inflammatory mediators, that are increased and not letting that insulin work its function easily. So during fasting and introducing the meals after iftar slowly and frequently, this meals this creates it leads to lessening or decreasing the level of the inflammatory mediators and giving the chance of the insulin to work and the burn its glucose easily. So it improves the hemoglobin A1C or the glucose profile.
So you're giving advice to people with diabetes,
yes,
not to eat too much at any one given time.
Yes,
right.
Yes,
and to spread out the meals, eat small. It goes against our instinct. You know, we want to eat everything on the table.
If I might say, our software. This is our catalog. This is our software. We have to go with the creator software. Yes, it's not, as you say, we are not single mealers. Even if our circumstances, our lifestyle, we are busy, but our body won't understand this.
Yeah. Okay, we're almost at the point of taking our first break. Let's see, is there anything else that we want to get into? We've talked about one category of people that you would have give caution to when it comes to fasting, the people with diabetes,
yes,
right? What other groups of people could potentially face a hazard by fasting?
Actually, regarding the hepatogastroenterology, since I'm a hepatogastroenterologist, the hepatic patients, which are prevalent in my country, in Egypt,
hepatic
liver?
Patients,
yes, liver,
yes.
Liver patients, yeah, chronic ones. The one what we are saying decompensated. Those are patients with lower limb edema, swelling in their lower limbs and their legs, ascites, accumulation of fluid in their abdomen. They have many signs and symptoms of decompensation, bleeding per nose. They have esophageal varices during the endoscopy. They have splenomegaly, their spleen is enlarged. Those are prohibited from fasting. Actually, one of the many mechanisms that fasting can follow, it takes from the glycogen of the liver. At that time, in that case, the hepatic ones they have a hepatic impaired function.
Okay.
So they can't release glucose easily.
Dr. Osama, we'll take a short break and come back and continue with our prohibitions, those who should we need to take special consideration when it comes to fasting. We'll talk more about this after a short break. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the program Ramadan for Better Health. We'll continue our discussion here with Dr. Osama Fikri. He is a gastroenterologist as well as a clinical nutritionist. We've been talking about, before the break, we were talking about the prohibitions, the people who have certain health conditions that we want to identify that should not be fasting. Anything else you want to, before we move on to the next subject?
Yes, recently there are many patients with morbid obesity. If you know, in Egypt, for instance, we are, according to the classification from the WHO, we are the sixth country all over the world after the North of America and the Gulf region, actually. And many patients right now are doing the bariatric surgeries, either a sleeve gastrectomy or mini bypass or gastric bypass.
These are different types of surgeries.
Bariatric ones, yes. Anti-obesity surgeries.
On the digestive system?
Yes.
The stomachs, okay.
Yes, yes. For the sleeve, for instance, we do gastrectomy. We remove like 80 to 90% of the total size of the stomach.
Wow.
That's like the reservoir. When you eat during suhoor, you eat, and that's is put in the reservoir in our natural refrigerator, and later on it's taken very gradually. For that patient, that function is altered. It's not working.
That's right.
So he should listen about not fasting. He shouldn't fast, at least in the very beginning after his surgery. This is number one. Regarding the mini bypass, also, we don't recommend, especially in the first a year after surgery. There are many categories of patients that shouldn't fast, but this should be follow up with their own clinicians. Renal patients, uncontrolled diabetes, cancer patients, and etc.
Yeah. Okay. So for the person who doesn't have these special health conditions, the nominal person who's healthy and is fasting, what are some of the pitfalls that they should avoid while they're fasting?
Well, actually, in Ramadan, we do many pitfalls, many bad habits. We turn out this breakup, this chance from God to detoxify our toxins from the body into actually a hazardous one. We turn into sweets. Our Ramadan is very famous with sweets, especially in Egypt. This is actually not right. And many people, just after iftar, they feel that they are heavy. They are bloated and heavy, and they'd like to sleep. And the day and the night during Ramadan is very short. They complain that we would like to sleep. We can't perform many tasks. Actually, part of this is because of the single mealers. This over-occupy our portal circulation. It takes much blood from our brain to start the process of digestion and absorption regarding the gastrointestinal system and the liver. In addition to the sweets, actually eating the sweets liberates much amount of tryptophan. Tryptophan is an amino acid that is mood stabilizer and causes us to be sedated. So we don't recommend eating sweets if it's, we don't recommend eating sweets at all. But
now, just to clarify, when you say sweets, you mean like pastries and cakes and all these kinds of things?
All refined sugars.
Refined sugars.
Refined sugars.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do recommend this to be like 4 hours apart from the time of sleeping. If we must do this, please take it not just after iftar, to be like 10 p.m., 11 p.m., because after a while you will get sleepy. Secondly, recently there is a concept in metabolism which is called the second meal effect. Actually, they found that the meal of the breakfast could affect our health, especially and the absorption and our glycemic content, our blood glucose level after at the dinner, for instance, or after the lunch. So it's called the second meal effect, and that's very important regarding the suhoor. Our suhoor should be late because this will minimize the period of fasting, which is not liked by the normal body system. Okay, and it should be contained like a complex carbohydrates like fruits and vegetables. We here in Egypt, for instance, we take cereals like fool, which is beans and peas. This is a very good source of protein and carbohydrates with a low glycemic index that is liberated very gradually and slowly, not to elevate our blood glucose level and give us like energy all through the day of fasting.
This in Egypt, as you know, one of the most popular carbohydrates is the aish baladi.
Yes.
The locally made bread.
Yes.
Is this, would you agree, is a good source?
Yes, but not to increase much of it. We do recommend the one, the aish baladi, as you say, the one mixed with bran. Not the other one, bran free. It's totally wheat. Okay. So we don't recommend this one. We recommend the one with bran, but not much.
The little dust on top. This is the bran.
This is the bran. It's very important. It's very rich in fibers and very important for the colon regarding a good bowel habits and decrease of the absorption of the toxins.
I want to ask you about something you said about this feeling of being tired and sleepy after we eat. Especially, you know, we've been fasting, we eat a heavy meal, the one-timers. I think this is the one-mealers.
Single mealers, yeah.
A lot of people counteract this feeling of fatigue by drinking coffee, strong coffee. Does that confuse the body anyhow, or what do you think about that?
Actually, it won't solve the problem because the main physiology of this is that the body is at once found its gastrointestinal system loaded with nutrients. It needs to finish this up. It needs to digest and absorb this. Much blood goes there. It takes from your brain, so you feel that you are dizzy, you're sleepy, okay? You're hypoperfused. So this is number one. Number two, also the liberation. Many people takes refined sugar, and we said that it liberates tryptophan, and tryptophan is a sedating mood stabilizer amino acid in the brain. drinking coffee actually worsens the condition.
Oh.
Yes. First, it will increase the acidity in the stomach, and the stomach will be already filled with much acid to digest. This is number one. Number two, it counteracts the absorption of iron, and that is the cause of many iron deficiency anemias. A part of like drinking tea and drinking coffee just after meals. We do recommend drinking coffee and tea 2 hours post our meals, after our meals. Otherwise, in this condition, it's very beneficial.
Okay, so you're getting into some of the nutritional parts of it, saying that coffee can disrupt the absorption of iron. Talk a little more about the vegetables. You know, we're always constantly pointed towards colorful vegetables, especially dark green veggies. Talk a little bit about the importance of veggies and fruits.
Yes, this is very important. In Ramadan, we should fortify our food with many colors, I say. That our table shouldn't be fixed with a single color, brown, dark, whatsoever. We need those phytochemicals. The phytochemicals are the very important bioactive material in the vegetables and the fruits. It gives the red color, the greenish one, the dark ones, in blueberries and blackberries and grapes, and so those are very beneficial. Actually, in a recent studies, as I mentioned to you, the DAHIAs, the dihydroepiandrosterons, those are the material that are elevated during the healthy lifestyle and in the younger ones, apart from the older ones, and are said to be the source of yos. Yeah, and they were sold at the pill of yos at some time. Those, in a recent study, were found to be elevated 20% in some of the fasting Muslims of fasting during the caloric restriction. So how about fasting that will increase the dihydroepiandrosterons plus eating vegetables and fruits that will boost them up.
All right, so we have been talking about some of the nutritional aspect of it. Let's talk a little bit about water.
Yes, of course. Of course, especially in our weather, here in Egypt or at that time of the year, the weather is very hot and humid, and this leads to much loss of water. During fasting, during the time of iftar, people are very thirsty. Actually, this is the main complaint. But they fulfill it totally wrong. They start drinking much fluid at the same time. Actually, the body, it's the software of the body, the physiology of the body is not accustomed to restore water. This is a disease. If your body restores water or your body saves water, this is a disease. This is a form of ascites. This is a swelling, edema. This is a problem with your body. Actually, when you drink much, you will excrete it. So what's our recommendation? Our recommendation to drink much, but not at the same time. Drink now and after an hour, and after 2 hours, after 3 hours, all through the period of iftar. Don't stay thirsty all through the time of iftar and wait for the time of suhoor and drink much fluid. No, you will excrete them after 1 hour or 2 hours at max. Your kidney will work. Your kidney is working, and preserving these fluids inside your body is not a good thing, actually, and it won't happen.
Okay, and obviously, if we're dehydrated, I think some of the things that we consume put a demand on the body to use the water in the body that makes us more dehydrated, like certain these refined sugars and caffeines and all this. Is that correct?
Yes, no, caffeines actually is half and half. Yeah, caffeines and tea and coffee. In a part, it's a rehydrating material. It's a fluid.
Really? Okay.
But it's rich with xanthines. Xanthines are a material, a scientific material that is a diuretic, a direct acting diuretic. So I keep my patients, I keep telling my patient that if you'd like to calculate the tea and the coffee you drink, calculate it in half of its content, because actually it's a fluid and it's rehydrating, that's true, but it's rich with xanthines that will cause you to urinate and lose some of this water. So it's half of it, but it's beneficial. It's very rich with antioxidants. It's good for your immunity. It's good for your metabolism. It's nice.
And this is the same for black and green tea?
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, what about children? You know, this is something, I don't know, is it a personal decision, I guess, for each family, when to start fasting? At what age do you recommend that children start?
Well, this is an important question actually, with due respect of the psychology of each family and the kid himself. But we have to take to put in our mind that our children, our children body, kids body, are the percentage of water content, of fluid content, are much higher than ours.
Okay.
So they are more liable to lose more water than us, and they are affected with dehydration more than us. Plus, they are very active. They run, they laugh. They are in open places, exposed to the sun, so they get sweat and so. So I believe the graduation is the best solution. First, to introduce fasting for the kid for 4 hours, 5 hours, 7 hours, and first we shall not prohibit the water for them. It's first food, just food, and then later on water, and after a while we can give them a full standard fasting. So
gradual, get them accustomed, and by the time they reach, what would you say?
Puberty? Yes.
By the time they reach 16, 17, they
yes.
should be able to?
Yes, I believe so, yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so any general recommendations for all of us? We've talked about special needs people who have certain health conditions. We talked about children. What about us in general? Recommendations, you've talked about different things.
Yes, to sum up, yes, we do recommend that fluid rehydration during the time of iftar to be around 3 liters per but gradually and distributed all through the timing of iftar. We don't recommend to be single mealers. Your iftar should be distributed upon 2 or 3 meals all through the period of iftar. Suhoor is very important, and it is protective against some of the hazards that could occur during the time of fasting. We do recommend minimal exercise to preserve your lean body mass or muscle content. We do recommend that the existence of dairy product for a supplementation of calcium.
All right. Dr. Osama Fikri, he is a clinical nutritionist as well as a gastroenterologist. He's very well qualified to talk about this issue, the physiology, the functions, all the different things in the body. And so we appreciate him joining us to talk about this very important topic for us. We hope, inshallah, you took away something beneficial to help you have a successful Ramadan. May Allah give us life to live to the next Ramadan, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.